What do audiences want? To escape, to be entertained, to be moved? Well, I don't disagree with any of that, but I wouldn't waste an hour of your time if we're only going to arrive at those kind of conclusions. And I don't think they're particularly useful to us as a writer. I think you need to go deeper. And the reason I think you need to go deeper is when I started out writing 30 years ago, I didn't think about this question. And the reason to think about it was that none of the screenwriting Bibles talked about it. So here's Sid Field's screenplay, which was a Bible when I was starting out. There they are. There's the start. We flip over the page. We're already into paradigm without ever engaging with this fundamental question. So I started writing my first screenplay. I just wrote it, and that approach wasn't particularly useful. Didn't go very well. I was living in LA, things were getting pretty grim. I was on the point of coming home, and I was lucky. I read a book, and this book fundamentally changed the way that I think about story. And over the last 20, 25 years, I've been fascinated with exploring this further. The reason that this book changed my thoughts around story was that it made me think for the first time about what it is at a very basic level, at a primal level, what is going on between the audience and the story. What are we really seeking as an audience when we're sitting there in that darkened cinema? So that's what we're going to be doing in this webinar. We're going to be looking at these questions. So we'll kick it off by considering this question. Trying to get a handle on the innate desire of human beings to both tell and listen to stories. That's going to form the basis for the discussion. Then we'll look at how the brain's evolved in 3 different phases and how each of those phases, each of those parts of the brain is actually looking for something quite different from story. I'm going to identify 5 things for you that I think audiences respond to, starting at the lower level and working on up. And we'll consider this. You know that some stories affect you more than others. What is it about those stories? Why are audiences responding to some stories more than others? And at the highest level, what separates the great stories from the merely good stories? So they're the questions that we're going to consider in the webinar. Now, this is not about you forgetting what's important to you. What I would say to you is that when you get a better understanding about what audiences are looking for, it'll allow you to tap into the experiences that you've had that are likely to resonate for a universal audience. So it'll bring more power to your work, more emotional power, but also allow you to tap into and access that broader audience. And I think that's the key if you're going to make it work as a screenwriter. So if you'd like to join us for the webinar, you're going to need to register. Get along to crackingyarns.com and find the prompts. There are 2 different sessions. There's one that's suited for a Australia, New Zealand, Asia time slot, and there's a later one for US, Europe, and Africa. But go to crackingyarns.com. I look forward to seeing you there. This is Alan Palmer signing off. See you then. Bye-bye.